Hi, thanks for joining us for another astrology chat. This is the Virgo in the early degrees series that we're doing on all the signs in the different early degrees. Make sure to watch the introduction video on the early degrees so you know what we're talking about and how we're focusing here. So let's get started. If we find Virgo at the early degrees in the chart, you can see areas sometimes that will struggle with the actual Virgo qualities that you have. Because remember, these are the infant or the young toddler version of each sign. So we know that Virgo is generally associated with smart, sophisticated, meticulous perfectionists that are hardworking, and they expect that of those around them too, that hardworking mentality and effort and give it your best. So this person, maybe they attempt to be neat and organized and sophisticated, but they're just meeting with struggles at every avenue they have. Maybe they run into a hurdle with trying to organize something, lack of space, lack of energy, lack of time, something. They could even be possessive with the items that they have because they struggle to keep those items clean and neat and protect them. So sharing in that toddler stage, if you think of it, might be difficult for them because they don't want someone to ruin their item, or they have a certain set of expectations for their property and how it should be handled. So maybe their friends aren't as meticulous and they'd just rather not share. And normally Virgo's a generous sign, so you can see how those early degrees would impact that. Additionally, another toddler type observation might be in the criticism of self. Everyone thinks Virgos are highly critical of others, which they tend to be. However, they are their own worst critic as well. So if you have that early degrees, it might be a child or a person having that childlike lack of self-esteem, or holding themselves to such a rigid standard that nothing is good enough for them. The positive placement, that they could make great analysts, or proofreaders or scientists, because they'll let no stone go unturned, but will they feel good enough about themselves in order to pursue that career? So a few examples of Virgo as we move through each planet. Let's take Mars in Virgo first. You might see the early degrees in this placement have arguments or aggression, again, around their possessions. If you borrow something from them with an early degree and you damage it or misuse it, there's a good chance they're going to be very upset with you because they take pride in ownership of things and want things to be used properly. They may even watch you use the tool or be critical towards you of how you're using their tool. So be conscientious if you are borrowing or even renting a car from a leasing facility that a Virgo may be managing. They may scrutinize that just a little bit more than someone else would, fluff it off. Hey, there's a scratch, sign the paper or have a good day, thanks for renting the car. You won't see that in the early degrees of Virgo. Another planet, maybe Venus in early degrees of Virgo, that can create a bit of a shy or introverted person, only because that Virgo is still learning to adjust to their Virgo traits coming out of that Leo, the previous Zodiac sign where they were bombastic and outgoing and all of that. Now the Virgo is reeling it in. They're more refined, and in these earlier infant stages of the sign, they may fail to even want to be around other people. Their standards are so high that they have an introverted self, because they may plan the whole holiday party and it may be wonderful for you, and they'll plan a lovely date. They'll make great gift givers, but they may not prefer to attend the party. They may not like large gatherings. They just have high standards and ideals for themselves, and with those early degrees they may be very introverted. Another example for communication, our planet Mercury, having that in Virgo, it can liken it again to that childlike behavior. Maybe they're not as tactful as some of the later degrees in Virgo. Maybe their communication is strictly based on necessity, and they can appear harsh or abrupt, again, trying to hone in those Virgo skills on perfectionism and how to manage things. Virgo's not usually one to talk fluff or small talk. They will be chatty, but they're filled with information, likely information that's very useful. They're highly intellectual. So their minds will be like a sponge, and they'll absorb information and process it and organize it quickly. So their communication skills are proficient. They just may be abrupt in them in these early degrees because they haven't quite learned how to communicate to a variety of crowds yet with this Virgo energy. Now, the sun, the life force, if that's in Virgo in an early degree, you may have that Virgo energy that needs to get things done, has plenty irons in the fire, lots of projects going, fixing and repairing things. They're learning, experimenting, trying new jobs, etc. So their life will be fast-paced. And with this life force energy, they may not take the time to rest. Again, like that toddler, they'll cry and fight sleep, and they don't want to go to bed at night because there's so much to do and so many things to explore. And again, that's that Virgo energy and the sun. It will not always nurture its own energy, Virgo. They're aware of what they should do to their bodies. They have the knowledge and the intellect to know what they should be doing or taking or exercising. But there's just no time in the day. There's too much to do for the Virgo. Next, we'll cover the moon in Virgo at the early degrees. And that's your emotional sector, of course. So likening that at the 0, 1, or 2 degree, they can be very expressive when things don't go according to plan. A minor tantrum a major tantrum over something that might be minor they could have, because they're very expressive when things don't go according to plan. Again, partially because they have a high standard for themselves and others, and because they're very critical over what they know needs to be done versus how something may have come out. So they may disregard or even abandon a project simply because it's not working the way that they would like it to. Tuck it away in the back of their mind where it's not going to be forgotten forever, but just postponed until they've created a resolution or something that they can do to make that project proper. And, it's like the child that just slams the book when they can't read, or they toss the skates in the closet when they can't skate right away. But the adult Virgo goes back, pulls that out and says, we're going to try that again and get it mastered. So the emotions can run high in the Virgo moon just because of those expectations, basically. And our planet Neptune and Virgo in the early degrees, Virgos with this early placement may not be comfortable in or around water. They may enjoy visually seeing water. They may appreciate water and boats and vessels and things like that. But water can be overwhelming to the earth sign Virgo. Think of floods and how it just swipes everything away. So they may not be someone that's swimming and leisure activities involving water. Now they can, like I said, appreciate that beauty, but they might fail to see the reason that you would want to splash about in the water with no sense, itself. So you might not see a lot of Neptune early Virgos as swimmers or lifeguards and things like that. And Uranus and early Virgo, it's associated with science and technology, like we know. So those early degrees could draw that Virgo to that career choice because it's focused on organization and details and healing and knowledge. But it may not satisfy the Virgo in the long run because that futuristic realm for the earth sign, they're more aligned with, less of the science fiction and the movies with all the CGI and things of that nature, and more of a grounded, earth-based career path or life choice there. Finally, we've got Jupiter in the early degrees of Virgo, and this has a little bit to do with the Virgo traits in the early of that hypercritical, again, that they may be with the organized and the placements, but they may tend to be a bit restrictive rather than risk-taking in these early degrees, because Virgo is not about failure, it's about success. So that toddler-like behavior might be, preserving those crayons. They're neat and beautiful in that new package, and we're going to color a little bit, we're going to put them up and have those crayons the next time we need them, rather than just using the whole box and demanding more, or they have like a restrictive nature to them when you consider that of the Virgo and the expansive Jupiter. So they're not going to be heavy level gamblers. They'll wait for that sure thing or that intuitive version of the lottery or a win or knowing, rather than just placing $30 and $40 a day into the lottery or something like that. So you'll see that Jupiter harnessed in a bit in the early degrees. Well, that's it for Virgo for now. And again, hopefully that helped you out with some of the placements if you have some early degrees in Virgo. There'll be a link in the description if you'd like to talk a little bit more, get a reading, something like that about your degrees, or get some specifics. But again, thanks for watching, and check out any other planets, placements that may have early degrees in other signs on our other videos.